Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
This is a Ryan Little production.
All right. Hey. Come on. Let's do this one more time. I'm always peeking my mic. I'm always peeking the micity mics. Oh man, listen. Let me tell you something. Let me give my first shout out. There's one person I would like to shout out on GCOM Radio, and first and foremost, you have been hearing the beats recently on GCOM Radio since we got back. A lot of my background sounds, I gotta give it up. I played a lot of different music from a lot of different artists. Producers actually. As far as the background sound, there's always going to be a hip hop vibe to it, and it was always Chucky Beats. Chucky Beats is a dude from Germany. My man plays all different types of vibes. He gets into it. He does trap music. He does a little bit of old school, and that was what I was on, because I was really impressed that my man centers so much on the hip hop sound in the United States, being that he's coming from Germany. But shout out to Chucky Beats. But then I got a new sound, so let me try some new flavor and see what else I get. And I like to shout out Ryan Little. Ryan Little is a dude, a brother, a producer from the United States. I love the sound. I hear a couple joints, and then boom, I'm on it. I'll be like, all right, let me rock with this for a little bit. Let me see if what this dude be on. I like making connections like that, because you never know. I knew if I bump into artists, and I'm sort of in some ways connected in the music and in the music community, and if they're looking for sounds, I know who to really reach out to. And there's a lot of more producers that I really do like, but mainly I like to spread out. I like to keep it on one or two, and then of course jump aboard on other things. But shout out to Ryan Little, man. He's got a sound, man. Yeah, man, always doing the damn thing, man. So how y'all week been? Thank you for tuning in once again to the show. I see you guys out there. I'm looking to branch out and do bigger things, and I have to get to it. It's like sometimes it's, oh my God, my days are like chopped up into certain things. I got to do meetings, set up meetings. I got to see what's going out there in the world with the news. I got to start planning ahead as a brand for Lyfeblood, and then GCOM, and as everybody knows with the show, and even though that's taking a back burner, but there's so many things and it overlaps, and it's hard to really get to everything. But right now I'm really looking into bigging up and doing some promotions on GCOM Radio. Someone's texting me, and in order for me to not hear that sound again, I have to open my phone. Okay, excuse me, folks. My bad. Boom. Yeah. So anyway. So yeah, man. So sometimes things get a little just like overlapping. You're juggling a lot, and that's just what it is, man. You're just gonna juggle a lot, and yeah, man. It is what it is. And I take it one day at a time. Whatever I don't do, I'll do tomorrow. Like. I got something, when I recorded this joint, this particular show right now, I actually I got something to do. I'm trying to do this under an hour, say an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15, let's say roundabout, so I could really get into some other things. If I had time to do a 3-hour joint, hour and a half, 2-hour would, but right now, I got to get to other things. But anyway, I'm your host, Nova Phoenix, host of GCOM Radio on iHeartRadio, and we are going to get into the topics of discussion for this show this week, and there's just a couple of things that's going on. I can't touch on certain things because of the time limitations that I do have, and I'm about to put this on buzzer because it keeps on ringing, and it's just gonna have to buzz or whatever. I can't concentrate. Yeah, man. So, all right. So let's just get on. We got some things to discuss here. Let's see what we got on the list here. I like to. Oh yeah, another shout out. I like to give another big, heartfelt shout out to my man. He posted on FB that he had a situation where he was feeling a little foggy in the head, and if I remember correctly, it was a long thing, and I read it, and it was like last week. And he's a little foggy in the head, and he's a musician. He actually plays for Inspector Deck's live band, and he'd been doing this thing with the music. He's a bassist. He's been doing it for as long as I can remember. My man is at my age, and like I said, he was feeling a little cloudy headed. If my memory serves me correct, when I was reading the post, and then he didn't think nothing of it, and then he went to sleep, and then he woke up with a numb arm and a numb leg. So, of course, something was not right, and he went to the doctor. It turned out that he had a mini stroke, and it affected him in a lot of ways, and he was talking about him as far as how it affects him as a musician, and he's going to work his way back. So I'm sending all the love, all the healing energy, all the sunshine to my guy, Djibril. And I hope you get a speedy recovery and you get back to 110%, because I know the love of music that you have in your heart and how you do not want it to affect you. And it's a lot more than affecting your performance as a musician, but also your quality of life as a human being. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you and everything that you are and everything that you do. And we all love you, man. And I just want to send much love, mad love, and healing love to you, man. My man Djibril Toure. Shout out to my man. So we had another situation with the Minneapolis police. Yes, with my brother. Unfortunately, that got killed. His name is Amir Locke. It was another no-knock warrant that took place in Minneapolis, and I thought that they did away with no-knock warrants. Apparently, they did not do away with no-knock warrants. So they entered in before 7 a.m. and they kicked the sofa where Amir was sleeping. And a second after they kicked the couch and they were screaming, "We have a warrant," whatever they said, they shot. They shot Amir Locke, who was under bed sheets on the couch. Now, I really did think that they did away with no-knock warrants. I don't understand the reason for no-knock warrants, they banned it in a couple of different states. They banned it in Oregon, Florida, surprisingly, and Virginia. So the family, of course, they went out and they did a press conference with their lawyer, and they want they're calling for the firing of Officer Mark Hanneman, that was a part of the no-knock warrant break-in, as I call it, and murder. And of course, the interim Minneapolis Police Chief Amelia Huffman's termination. It's crazy that everything is coming out of Minneapolis. You had George Floyd that died there, and it was this huge thing as far as the protesting across the country, out of the shock how George Floyd died. And of course, with everything else, Breonna Taylor, and I'm like, wait a second, I thought we did away with this. And from what I have been reading, they supposedly stopped no-knock warrants, but according to some court cases, they still continue with no-knock warrants, even though they're saying they were going to limit it or shut it down or whatever thing that they said, whatever the mayor said at the time. But here we are, another no-knock warrant comes with the death of my brother Locke, and I don't know, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And now it's funny to me. After a while, as I said, you know, I'm at a certain age, and I understand what it takes to recreate communities, to revitalize them. And it's not about just, you know, having as much, you know, an army of cops trying to handle crime and gun issues and all the other issues that comes with poor communities. But I know that is only temporary. Cops, they're only a temporary fix. Not even call it a fix. It's only a temporary method that is used to deal with crime or issues in poor communities. And here we are in Minneapolis. So all these things that are happening, let me just type something, folks, excuse me. All this is happening in Minneapolis that we can't even get, you know, look what happened in this country, man. Excuse me. I was just trying to get some information here. Look what happened in this country. My bad. Did I say my bad? Breonna Taylor in Minneapolis. She was in Louisville, Kentucky. And that's what I was looking up. I was in the back of my head. I was like, no, that's not right. It wasn't from Minneapolis, but she was from Louisville, Kentucky. So my bad, folks. I messed that up. Yeah, for all the things that's happening across the country, especially in Minneapolis, you think that local governments or the federal government would really try to see what is going on honestly and objectively and try to change things through law or through certain legislation on the local level, on the federal level, especially with the George Floyd bill, how they also had involved, or in the George Floyd bill, they would have no-knock warrants. If I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong. And it will be more than just Oregon, Florida, or Virginia that pretty much made no-knock warrants illegal. And yet we still, at this point in 2022, we still, after everything that went down in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and people were risking their lives to go out onto the streets, being next to each other, being on one accord, and telling the country that we cannot do this anymore in 2021. And here we are, continuing with the same thing. And it makes me feel, are they really listening? Do they really care? What is the purpose if they don't care and they're continuing on with the same methods that's leading to the deaths of Mr. Locke and Breonna Taylor and all the others that died from no-knock warrants? If they don't really care from what we see, then what is the ultimate motive for them to continue on with no-knock warrants and all the other issues is that when it comes to police brutality in black and brown communities? If they don't really care, because it seems like they're not really doing anything different, they're giving you a lot of lip service. And of course, when damn near the country was set ablaze and city to city, state to state, everybody was capitulating. Companies was capitulating. The federal government was saying things. The local police, the local politicians, all of them saying, we understand your pain and what you're going through. We are going to do something about it. And you saw all those pictures with the cops hugging people in the community. You saw them dancing along. You saw them playing football. All these things that you saw that was happening in these cities across America at the height of the protests, with the anger that was boiling over because we saw that video of George Floyd dying slowly. And they were saying all these things on what they were going to do. Now, I know, I get it. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to set the stage here because I know the deal. But I just want to say this out loud in public. All that's going on. And they said, hey, we're going to change here. We're going to do something different. And we're going to show you how we're going to do something different, because we're going to get these local politicians together and we're going to hash out this new legislation so this can never happen again. And here we are. in 2022. We have another no-knock warrant that led to the unfortunate, untimely murder of Amir Locke. And they were saying, oh, he had a gun. Well, he had a gun in his hand. Hey, listen, depending on your neighborhood, you're going to protect yourself when you're sleeping, depending on your neighborhood. And it's not quite illegal to have your own gun. And plus, he was not even the target of this investigation. Amir Locke. And his gun was registered. Here we are once again, folks. What are we dealing with here? What are the true motivations of continuing with these no-knock warrants? And the funny thing is, after this happened and the streets were starting to crowd up with Minneapolis people, that's when the mayor finally said, you know, we're just gonna suspend no-knock warrants. After the community was starting to come out, because you know if they come out in Minneapolis, it's going to start spreading and it's going to go to other places. Hopefully New York, because we already know what's going down when President Biden came down and talked to Mayor Eric Adams, talking about the crime and these guns is being made in homes, blah, blah, blah. Now, mind you, this is the other thing I caught. I saw on allhiphop.com, allhiphop.com, all right? Love allhiphop.com, always getting the latest in hip hop and the news and social issues, whatever is going on. Big shout out to Chuck Jigsaw Creekmer. He's one of the founders of allhiphop.com. And also Grouchy Greg. Shout out to my man Grouchy Greg. Don't want to forget him. So they said there's an article that was just released this week talking about the title of this is NYPD Connect Uptick in City Shootings to Gangs and Drill Music. Oh, we gonna do this again. So that's what we saying now. It's the music. See, I told you this jungle music is having these kids shoot each other. Right? So this is what we're talking about. So what they saying? They saying NYPD detectives are saying that the spike of gun violence in the city can be traced to the new genre in rap music called drill. Some investigators have connected drill music and the Big Apple's uptick in gang violence. Really? So we gonna do this. So, you know, the mayor of Minneapolis was straight trying to control what was going to go down, because you know it's going to continue to go down. It was going to go once again, spread to city. And Florida think they came up with some legislation and stop the people. You think that's going to stop people from coming out? If something was to go down in Florida or the energy spreads to Florida, you think that's going to stop people? You think all that back in the day in the 60s stopped Martin Luther King from coming out? Nah, they ain't stop people. That's only going to encourage more people to come out, because they know of the draconian laws that you're trying to enforce, because you're trying to continue what? Dare I say systemic racism? Oh my God. Dare I say. So let's hope for some justice for my brother Amir Locke, that there can be a final nail in the coffin to no-knock warrants in Minneapolis and hopefully nationwide. And of course, a lot of other things that's associated with police brutality and the killings of black men and black women and Latinos and the brown folk and all that at the hands of corrupt racist police in a systemically racist system. Okay, let's just hope we could turn the corner. And you're gonna be like, yo, no, we didn't turn the corner. Even in 2020, at the height of all this, and everything was burning up and charred to ash, right? And we still are dealing with this. Well, you know, we got to keep pushing. Listen, let me tell you something. It wasn't just Martin's soft voice when he spoke to Lyndon B. Johnson to change things. It was also a lot of other things that was happening, that was boiling up at the time in the 68 and 60 and 65 and 66. It just wasn't just protests. There's a lot of other things that was going on. Yeah, it just wasn't just what do you call it? A peaceful protest. There was a whole other side that was talking about, yo, the hell with this peaceful protest. We gonna start getting down. That's a lot of times they want to twist history and sugarcoat history, talking about it was the nonviolent philosophy of Dr. Martin Luther King that kind of pushed things over the edge and changed things. It wasn't just that, because it was one option was Martin Luther King, and the other option was, if you didn't really listen to what Martin was saying, there was a whole other option that was going to be put to place that was being set up, and they was like, whoa, we don't need that. We don't need that. The country don't not that, especially now in this capitalist system that we in. Shit, the more conflict and the more problems that you have over certain ills of society, you can't make money. Ain't nobody wants to stop money from flowing, right? Whoa, wait a second, let's solve this, right? So they'll try to put a Band-Aid over it to solve it, to keep the money flowing, but we can't just go for the same bullshit theatric talk. Now it's time for some actual real change, and we can put some concrete legislation together that's going to change how we interact with each other in this country. Okay? That's what we want to go for. Yeah. So, I was going to share a story about the big landmark, the huge landmark among so many landmarks in New York City, the Madison Square Garden. Yes, I call it the Madison Square Garden. Yeah, I was going to share that. There was this article that came out saying that the Madison Square Garden was going to be relocated to Hudson Yards. Yeah, and then I shared it with some folks on Facebook before this thing posted, and a friend of mine was like, "Yeah, that sounds crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, it's interesting, right?" And then next thing you know, yeah, come to find out that this information that I got is fake. This whole article, all this information is fake. It was coming from the Buffalo Chronicle, which is a site dedicated to just sharing fake news. So I hear. All right. The Buffalo Chronicle. Now, it's oh my God, that's the internet, man. That's the internet for you. I mean, it is the information superhighway, but it's also the disinformation superhighway. There, as much as you could get off the internet, there's a whole lot of rabbit holes and bear traps that you go fall down, and you get your head caught in the sling, and next thing you know, you're running off with information, and it's fake. It's not real. And that's just, to me, a small example of what happens with all this craziness that's going on in the world right now, and people are sharing information, wrong information, whether it's wrong or right, is information, and it's spreading around, and this is how people are misinformed. The next thing you know, we have, whole quote-unquote movements happening of people saying they're sad that, I don't know, Tuxicani Phil, whatever that damn rat is that comes out the hole is, selling crack to the neighborhood. I don't know. You know what I mean? God damn, this information, I was pissed off. I'm like, yo, this shit is not real. Oh, wow. And glad I caught it. Shout out to my boy right there that helped me out. Nelson George also chimed in, man, to that. And I didn't really read what Nelson George said. And I'm upset that fucking thing came out. Yeah, so this goes to show, folks, just whenever you get information, keep reading. If it sounds sensational, then fine, keep reading. Find other articles to corroborate whatever the main article is saying about said information. And, you don't have to reshare it and, do a disservice to the whole entire global community on the internet sharing shit that ain't true. Which I was about to do. But yeah, don't go to the Buffalo Chronicle. If you want to check it out yourself, buffalochronicle.com. Yeah, man. Bullshit. All right, next thing. What is returning in as far as movies is concerned, something I got my eye on. The Joker is returning. Look at this. I remember when Joaquin, did I talk about this last week? I don't remember. But I'm going to say it again. I remember Joaquin said that he was not going to do another Joker. He probably could do it, depending if it's right. But Joaquin Phoenix is an actor's actor, and I'm surprised he did. It was directed by Todd Phillips, and it looks like it broke record standing as a standalone movie. And I guess the money was right, and Joaquin is in for it again. Now, what I don't want to happen is there going to be a crossover with Robert Pattinson. I think those are two different worlds, and I'm pretty sure it's two different. I mean, it's year one. I know it's not going to cross over. I just don't want people to run away from themselves and all of a sudden be like, hey, maybe we should cross over Joaquin with. No. They're standalone movies. And honestly, I think the Joker should have remained a standalone movie just in one movie alone. Sometimes it kind of, Hollywood machine gets going and all of a sudden they want to throw it in as a trilogy. And I'm like, I thought it was a lot more precious as a film when you only did one, to say, okay, this is the origin story of the Joker. And, for them to do it again, I'm like, it just takes away from that special feeling I had about Joker, the movie, because it was a really good piece of art. All right, to me, I didn't even see it as a DC character coming from the comics. I thought of it as a real dope expression of art from what Joaquin was doing and what the director Todd Phillips was doing, and they truly did a masterpiece, and people definitely responded to that in that way as a masterpiece. So, let's see what they do with the sequel. Sometimes sequels, it's a disservice to the first one, because sequels are bad, they're bad. It's just terrible. Another movie that I saw that as a sequel that never should have been made, now that I'm talking about it, is Ghostbusters, man. Ghostbusters, I saw it over the weekend, and I don't think they should have done another Ghostbusters. I really liked the ending. I thought the ending was dope. The idea of what they had. I'm not going to tell people as far as, for those that do really want to see Ghostbusters, the new one. There was definitely some... I questioned some of the dialogue. Like, I was like, why? No, that wouldn't happen. It was focused around the granddaughter of Egon Spengler, and she was pretty much trying to find herself. She was a smart as a tack, right? And the mother, they were down and out of money, and they had to go back to this town. I forgot what state it was in, Wisconsin, I don't know. And where the Egon had his house, and they called him, what did they call him, a dirt farmer or something like that. So this is the whole movie was them just trying to figure out who, where their place is in this town, because they didn't have any money. Of course, they're going through all of Egon's old equipment and science, stuff like that, and of course craziness ensued because it's Ghostbusters. So I there were certain parts I didn't like, and it turns out no shot to Dan Aykroyd. I love Dan, but towards the end I saw that I was like, oh, it was written by Dan Aykroyd, and there was just certain parts that probably, I don't know, when people didn't like the joint with the SNL actresses, I forget their names, but they did the kind of reboot of Ghostbusters, and a lot of people didn't like it. So they was like, yo, why don't we get the original Ghostbusters? That's what we want. And I guess when they gave it to Dan Aykroyd to write, there was just certain things that just didn't make sense. And, maybe they didn't want to really get in Mr. Aykroyd's, they didn't want to question his writing on how he was having these characters interact, but there was some definite things I was like, I don't know about that. Why would that happen? Why would this girl do that? Why is this happening that way? To me, it was just a lot of really, I don't know. So, but really, I have to say it, towards the end, there was a lot of surprises, a lot of, things that I was like, oh, yo, that's pretty cool. I like how they did it like that. So if you want to go see it, Man, okay, put it like this. Should you rent it or wait for it to come out on Netflix? Wait for it to come out on Netflix. It's really not something that you should spend $6 for to see. It was cute, and let's leave it at that. So wait for it to come out on Netflix or any other movie streaming platform that they make it a part of the library, and you'll like it. Janet Jackson's documentary, man. I saw a piece of it. Unfortunately, I did not get to see the rest because my TV, or better yet, the app that was on, Lifetime, was conking out. Some of these apps be suspect, man. Everybody want to get in on this movie streaming thing, and they don't really get the kinks out of these damn platforms, and I couldn't even see the rest. And it turned out that my TV was bugging because I was trying to download more apps, and guess what? I got a Samsung TV, and they're telling me, or I'm finding out that the memory, you have RAM, you have storage for the apps, so the actual storage, the gigs, and then you have there was something else that it was part of it. Anyway, I ran up my RAM. I could not download any more apps. And then on top of it, to add insult to injury, you have apps that are preloaded onto the Samsung TV, which I never thought would be like an issue. I could not take them off. So my RAM is it's in the red. It's like 95% usage. My space is almost over because yes, there is space that you need to download to the TV. So then I'm looking online and I'm like, yo, what am I supposed to do if I can't download? What the fuck is the purpose of having this goddamn TV? So I'm looking it up. Of course, people are responding with the same issue, and they're saying you have to buy a flash drive so you can download those apps over to the flash drive to free up the television. Now, I bought the flash drive. I switched it over, but I'm still kind of confused. How do I download it instead to the television that's eating up all the storage to the flash drive? And I'm like really upset. I got a call coming up with the help center at Samsung, and I'm like, wait a second. I was just trying to watch the Janet Jackson documentary. That's all I was trying to see. I was trying to see Miss Jackson. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I find out I can't really use my television. And it just like hit me in the head, it just dawned on me. I'm like, wait a second. This is a computer essentially. Why would Samsung only give you a limited amount of space in order to download apps, which you know you're going to download a lot of apps? And why would you have a memory that wouldn't be fit for the amount of apps that you download? For a smart television, it makes no sense. Now I got a television I really can't use beyond what it is set up to be. Pissing me off. And I can't see my Janet Jackson documentary. I worry about this goddamn computer. Anyway, so next bit of news. Hey, this is a little bit more sad news. Turns out there is another, as if we ain't dealing with enough with this COVID thing and all these other variants come out. I'm seeing an article where they're saying there is a new HIV variant. Yes, there's a new HIV variant. It was a deadly virus that hit the world back in the 80s, and a lot of people died because people did not know what it was, and a lot of people literally were dying, withering away and dying. A lot of people lost friends and family because of AIDS. HIV attacks your defense system, the white blood cells. And then after a while, it develops into full-blown AIDS. I'm sorry if I'm not giving you guys scientific, detailed breakdown of how HIV is processed in the human body, but essentially that's what it is. You get the HIV virus from unprotected sex, and then if you don't treat it, it can blow up into full AIDS, and you don't die from the actual AIDS. You die from your body not being able to defend itself against common ailments, like you can die of pneumonia or things of that nature. So they for many years they were trying to figure out how to cure AIDS, and they knew how to control it. They have drugs now. Of course, everybody knows Magic Johnson. he got AIDS. Man, it was a big shocking moment back then when he had a press conference. But a lot of people was thinking, damn, is he gonna have a life after basketball? And yeah, he's turned into a crazy, wild, successful businessman. And you would think, damn, does he have AIDS? 'Cause this dude is looking good. My man he got the top of the line drugs, man. He got the top of the line experimental drugs, and he's looking great. So it looks like, AIDS is managed, and now we're dealing with this HIV variant. As I said, they found it in the Netherlands, and they're saying it's more transmissible than the original virus. And if it's left untreated, the infected can advance to AIDS, full-blown AIDS, in 9 short months. 9 short months if it's left untreated. They're saying for some reason it affects people in their 30s a lot more. And that's wild. I don't know why the 30s, but and then of course as the older you get, they say that it's more deadly, of course. I guess around the good news is saying the same antiretroviral drugs that's used for the original HIV is still effective. And if caught early, you can actually have a normal life with the drugs that are out now. That's wild, man. I can't believe we're still dealing with AIDS virus, man. Yeah, and it's there. So you can look it up, Google it, folks. A new variant of HIV is out there. So it just keeps you in mind not to be wild when you go out there in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Next thing is, Thandie Newton. Thandie Newton had a candid interview where she was apologizing for taking the roles for darker skinned women. And she was just dealing with the colorism that black people what black people have to deal with, and where it comes from as far as racism in Hollywood, and how she's chosen above all other dark-skinned, brown-skinned women, and it affected her so deeply that she broke down during the interview. And she said a lot of it came from even in some ways African-American women as far as the prejudice, and but knowing that she has to deal with her own internal, I guess, stress from having to deal with this situation that broke her apart. Now, it's funny. I thought there was going to be an actual moment where people were going to connect with Thandie Newton, understanding this issue that black actors and actresses go through when you're in the business of movie making. And it was the exact opposite. It was a lot of people that was slapping her in the face for being vulnerable, being within this experience. And it is wild to me. I'm like, damn, people are heartless. Here she goes. She's having a real heart-to-heart with this interviewer online. I'm probably from a home. And she was crushed by it. She was torn apart that these are the things that black women have to deal with. And she, in that moment, you saw her at her weakest moment. And people started to kick her when she was down, especially this one gentleman. I don't want to get into too deeply, but I'm going to have to talk about it. This dude named Tariq Nasheed. Everybody knows this guy at this point. He's followed by a lot of people on Twitter and on YouTube and all these things. And, he talks about issues, black issues in these United States of America. And she has this thing called FBA, Foundational Black Americans, where that is the culture of black Americans has been here since for generations, since the very beginning of the transatlantic slave trade. And he had some negative words to say about Thandie Newton, and to fit within his narrative as far as the FBA is concerned. And I'm not going to get into this talk right now because I'm not ready to talk about this guy. I just have my differences with his whole thing. And I've said it in a lot of different circles. Hey, if black Americans want to identify as FBA, Foundational Black Americans, and in that way somehow changes their condition for them to be recognized as a separate group or whatever, I guess more power to them. You have black people that are Moors. Not Denzel Washington. What's my man name? From let me see here. What's the actor's name? I can't remember his name, man, and it's not packed. The guy that did Blade, Wesley Snipes. Wasn't he a Moor? So, you have a lot of black identity groups that have been popped out over the decades. You have Hebrew Israelite, you have the Moors, you have people that claim to be, Native American and this specific tribe. And hey, have a grand old time if you feel this is who you are, if this is who you want to identify yourself with this particular group. Have a grand old time. But when it's used in ways to kind of be divisive, that's where I have my problems. And, that's all I'm going to say at this point. I guess I'm going to have a further breakdown of this whole thing next week. But, it is what it is. And I'm trying to keep to the time, and I think I did pretty good. I went through a lot of stuff here, a few things. If you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, whatever, I guess you wasted 45 minutes of your time. All right, like I said, I guess I did record time underneath an hour. There's not much more I can say at this point. I thank you guys for listening to me. And if you please tune in next week when I really can get into this whole FBA thing, which a lot of things I don't agree with. Maybe I'll make it a separate show. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if I want to really dedicate my time to do something like something outside of the regular episodes of the GCOM Radio. But yeah, folks, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys next week. As always, you are the best for tuning in. Please sign up for Lyfeblood.com. Continuing, we're building this brand and making it to where it is. And also, by the way, to me, when it comes to as a black founder on building a platform for the global society, I know it's just not about me. This is what I do all the time. This is my identity, Lyfeblood. So but I know that sometimes it's bigger than me and it's bigger than Lyfeblood, and there's an opportunity for a black founder to find his way in and to build a brand for people to see and use. And that's what I'm all for, and that's Isaac Hayes. He has fan base, and he's really gathering momentum. Has a lot of people on his platform getting in those audio rooms and talking on a variety of different topics, of him having ways where he can stream video if you want to leave a little message on your video piece. Yeah, and in ways where you can make money by throwing out loves. You purchase loves and you give loves to other people, and ways where you can create some sort of revenue stream for yourself within fan base. So I wish him much success in him doing fan base. I was actually a part of a Clubhouse talk about getting people over to fan base, and I'm all with it. If my thing is, if black content creators can find a space where they can be celebrated and not tolerated, where they won't have to be shadow banned, where they don't have to be limited, then that's a beautiful thing. And I'm wishing so much, and that's just not for just black content creators. If you just feel that your voice is not heard because you're afraid of being banned, the algorithms are crazy, go to fan base. And I'm all for it, man. And getting off of Instagram, getting off of what do you call it? Facebook, and I think it had its time. Now, of course, I'm always going to build Lyfeblood, and it's going to be something it's in a similar vein, but it's a little bit more than fan base. So I'm always going to be behind and pushing in this project ahead and for 2022. But yeah, I just hope that we just don't have just one company, because I think in itself, if fan base gets to where it needs to be, I know there's going to be that a specific society is going to be, well, black people have their own, social media. They have their Facebook, there you go. And I might, no, that's not what it's about. It's not where people have just one platform to go to. I think it should be multiple platforms for people to exercise different ways to be creative as the content creators that they are, and to have multiple revenue streams. And we do not want to have another Facebook where it's monopolized and there's only one place for a person to go. Is there one sneaker? Is there one car? Is there one type of, type of book? Only hardcover. So whatever. We want to have a place where you can have freedom or room to breathe. And whatever that you create on one platform, maybe you're attracted to another platform in some other way. And we want to diversify. And there are a lot of black founders that are out there that have their own platforms, whether it's in education, whether it's comedy, of course, in terms of education with Narrative Nubia, comedy, Life Waves app, and whether it's me as far as what I'm building out with Lyfeblood or fan base, it is out there, and all these companies should be funded. We already know that the money is being there's untold amounts of money in the VC world, and all these startups are getting funded, but yet we still have 1%. And to me, that is always going to be the driving statement or truth or reality, what keeps the battery in my back, that it shouldn't be like this. And I'm always going to push ahead, and I'm not going to listen to a society that says, or that tries to control how, where, when, and why the existence of black founders should just be. That's us to decide. And if we can do it through Start Engine, if we could do it through crowdfunding, if we could do it through actually getting a VC to fund that business, then that's what it's about. I don't want to hear, I mean, it's two different realities, honestly. You know, when I talk to my white counterparts, and they can say certain things and it be okay. And it's not absurd. It's not looked at as something, well, you're not really following the way, the steps that we should, that we set out for people. The mold is always being broken by my white counterparts, and they do things differently. And somehow that's being thought of as forward thinking and different. And you have moxie, and they get this money. And black founders is treated differently. They're treated as, well, you know, that's not exactly how we do things. Sorry, you don't have this 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 5 things. It just won't work. So you see that there's a difference on how VCs approaches founders when it comes to black founders, brown founders, and white founders, such and so forth. So I want to break that mold where Lyfeblood could get into that space and generate an excitement where you can have millions of people jump on the platform. But yes, let's have people that's on Fanbase. Let's have people that's on live wave apps. Let's have people on Candid, and that's what's my man's name? Social media platform, Soldier Boy. Let's have people on these different platforms, and we can have all those icons. You know, when you see the trucks drive by and you see people say, hey, check out where I'm at, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and you see all those little icons. It should be the same thing when it comes to the businesses I just mentioned. You should have 4 or 5 different platforms that you go to that serves you in different ways. And now, say for instance, Fanbase shuts down. Hey, well, at least I have Lyfeblood. Say something happens with Lyfeblood, is a little glitch. Hey, at least I have Nubia, or I have Candid. Let's treat this seriously, man. Don't let them dictate what you should be doing as a black founder, as a founder that's marginalized. You create your space and you build it out for people that's worthwhile for everyone. And Lyfeblood is not just something, as I say, for black content creators. It's for everybody. I want everybody to get on the platform. Whether you Russian, you Israeli, you Chinese, I want everybody to be on the platform. But at least there's a space for black folks to go to where they know they won't be limited. That algorithms is not going to push them out or cancel them or delete their account because they said a certain thing. Here is a space where it is naturally, it is obviously for everybody, but at least black founders, black content creators can actively be about in this room, in this space, in this platform, and not have to walk on eggshells. They don't have to worry about is my statement or whatever I wrote on this profile gonna knock me out the box, and all of a sudden I'm gonna be in IG jail for the next 6 weeks to a couple months. So that's what it's about, man. Providing some level of freedom, some elbow room to create an actual financial compensation for all the hard work that you're doing, for all those black TikTok dancers that's creating great dances, and all of a sudden it's stolen and taken. All of a sudden somebody else is getting paper for it. So this is what it's about, man. There's always going to be IG. There's going to be Facebook when it turns to Meta. Yeah, that's all well and good. But now it's time to provide different spaces for people that weren't listened to on these platforms. And I think it's necessary. I think it's needed, and I don't see going back on that. So it's not a matter of IG saying, okay, we're sorry, we're going to market some black content creators and you could just get back on the platform. No, it's not about that. I think this was a necessary thing. It's a necessary thing. Yeah, were people being shadow banned and limited? Yeah, no doubt. And I'm not going to say, okay, I'll come back. No. This is necessary. A space needs to be created where black content creators can be properly compensated and also not have to worry about being shadow banned or limited in any way. So yeah, man, please go to Fanbase. Please go to Lyfeblood. Please go to Candid. Try them out. See what you like, and maybe each one of them can, fit your lifestyle in a particular way. Now, hopefully, we have some things going on with Lyfeblood where I am going to redesign the platform. It is going to be redesigned as far as the website is concerned. We're going to get the app out there, and it's going to be different. So I'm glad I'm seeing Fanbase win, because if Fanbase wins, I win in terms of being a black founder. So big ups to all of y'all. Thank you again for listening to the show. I'll see you guys next week, and I'm out of here. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.